So good morning and welcome to our Saturday morning coffee chat. We have a exciting guest speaker today. Before I give her the floor though, I wanted to just do a couple announcements. So today is Super Saturday for us in the Beachbody world. So after this is another call and you're welcome to get on that. It's just to let you know all the new and exciting things that are coming up. There's some special announcement. So I will share that out with everyone as well. And then yesterday in our group, I did do a video to show you that there is a new workout up for everybody, and it is a 9-week control freak workout from Autumn. So it's Tabata cardio. She does in this one use the control track and the core ball, but she also shows how to do it without the equipment. So if you don't have the equipment, you can at least get a taste of what 9-week control freak is and decide whether you want to do that going forward as one of your next programs. So it is under the title of TBB events. So that's where there are different workouts from different trainers that they have done for events that we usually do in person. But because everything's virtual right now, that's where those are living and you have access to those. So if you're looking for something fun or new to do, go check that tile out on your Beachbody On Demand. So it's available to everybody. And then this week coming up is prep for our vision board, which we're going to do next Saturday on the coffee chat. So I will be sending you out some emails with just some things to get you in that mode and start thinking about that. Start gathering your vision story and your clippings, yes, of your images and things like that. And what Sherri is going to go over today is going to help kind of start getting you thinking about that too. And the actual worksheet that I'll send out to help you with your vision story has categories. So again, it's going to go in line with what Sherri's going to be sharing with us today. So know that that's coming in your emails. Be looking for that. And then again, so next Saturday's coffee chat is the vision board party. And we're also going to touch on motivation. What it is, what it isn't, where you find it, where it lives. So we're going to get our vision, our motivation, our mission. We have our 12-week year with our goals and our tactical plan, our time blocking. So we're putting it all together to give us all the tools that we need to succeed. And then last thing is, Sheila had shared this with us. I don't know who else printed it out, but I've been having fun just kind of coloring it. And it'll be fun to see this at the end of the year. So it's just it's got the every day of the month or every month of the year on here. And you just, each little block is one day and you color it when you have suited up and showed up, regardless of what it looks like, you've showed up for yourself. So color it in and we'll see what our work of art looks like at the end of the year. So that is it for the announcements. I wanted to do a quick 1-minute accountability check-in for our weekly accountability meeting for our 12-week year. So if anyone wants to share what is working, what is not working, how did this last week, our first week of our 12-week year go? Definitely let us know. And I'll just kick it off and just say, I definitely did not meet 80%. I did a whole heck of a lot better last week than I've done in the previous few months, being more intentional with my time and focusing more on things that matter, which we're going to talk about today too, but certainly did not follow my time blocking perfectly. Perfectly imperfect is my shirt today for a reason. But I feel better about just putting some intention to it. So if you feel like your week was totally not where you had hoped it to be, don't worry. This is our learning curve. This is where we're retraining ourselves and our brains to do this work. So anybody else have anything to share on that? Karen?
Well, my week didn't look like I thought it would either because of my pain, but and I haven't calculated yet, but I've been doing everything except working out the way I wanted to work out. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's good. I have to try and keep thinking on the positive, but yeah.
Yeah. Good. And honestly, in your workouts with what you're dealing with, it's it's a good tool to learn, to be able to just make those tweaks and make that adjustment. That's that where we look at where we're not able to do it, and then what do we do instead, or
Well, and keeping track of all those tactics or whatever and marking them, then that's just one tactic that I'm not able to do.
right.
I've been able to do all the others. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Sheila.
So I realized right off the bat that I had tried to kind of micromanage my time way down to the like minutia of the minute, way too much. And that I had to like just axe like right from the start. So what, like I too, my week did not look anything like I thought it was going to. So like when I go in next week, I think the time blocking makes a lot more sense than trying to decide, I'm going to do this and this on this day at this time, which is what I had tried to do. Like, this is how my week is going to go every day at every minute, of the day. It was like absolutely made me crash. I think I was like in tears because it was not happening. And I just had to like just melt down, start over, and realize this is not how it's supposed to be, and just kind of reframe it. Like I did a lot of things, but trying to like micromanage my life like that is just not a way to go. So I think big time frames, like in this chunk of time, you have do things and then do the crap later is a good way to go.
Yeah, it's great. I'm glad that it's a learning. So we're learning, right? And I'm glad you reframed it. So it's been very enlightening to time block it and build it on paper, and then just really see what's realistic, which is when you're reading through the one thing, it really does kind of hone down on the principles that we learned in the 12-week year. Anyone else? Deb.
Yeah, I too did not meet, but it has been enlightening. I echo both Karen and Sheila. I did most of the things, but not probably the most important ones I thought I would nail. That's why I got to get out of my comfort zone, and realizing that my breakout block, the dynamic one with Ken, my husband, that's fluid, and I don't need to assign a time for it, as I'm reminded that I was enlightened with. And then my productive time kind of switched from morning to night, or than what I had on paper. So that was interesting to me as a feedback.
Awesome. Awesome. Love hearing all that. And that seeing the progress just in 1 week, right? So make sure you're spending some time this weekend to plan your next week. Lord, taking what you've learned, what worked, what didn't work, and applying it to your schedule for next week. And we'll be in a groove before you know it, right? Okay, with all that, it rolls right into our guest speaker, Sherri. I've known Sherri for quite a while now. She is just a bundle of joy and energy. She is currently getting certified as a life coach with John C. Maxwell. I'm super excited for her. It's kind of going to be this career change. She has been a realtor forever, quite a successful one. And they use the one thing principle in the company that she's with as part of their mindset and their training. So I'm excited that that's the book we decided to read this month, and that she's going to share with us some experience on that. And so let's just let her take it away. And then Sherri, let me know if you want me to put up on screen the handout.
That'll be up to everyone there. I don't know that it's super duper important, and that it's just something that I think everybody's going to want to do, just because it really helps us hone in on what is our one thing. Hi, I am Sherri Mulheny. Like Louise said, I've been in real estate for 17 years. I'm a single agent, and I have a full-time assistant that I hired about 5 years ago, which was life-changing for me. And I am currently getting ready to live the dream. I'm selling my business to my assistant, and I'm moving to Mexico, where I will do business coaching and consulting from my patio over the ocean. So I am super stoked about it. All my kids off at college, and it's time for me to do me. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. So how far have you guys gotten along in the one thing? Have you started it, or you?
You're kind of chopping in and out a little bit.
I am. Let me move this. I don't know if this helps. All of a sudden, my service in my office got kind of bad, and I'm like, "That's great." Everywhere else in my house, it's okay. That's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if it's over here, it doesn't want to do it. So how has everybody started reading the one thing? At least got partway through it. So if you went through here, you'll notice that, we talk a lot about time blocking and making lists and doing those things, right? But when we're time blocking for all kinds of things. So I think you had mentioned they talked about the story about the rocks, right? Like if you always put your big rocks in first, right? You have a jar, you put your big rocks in first. And those are the I know you were saying you don't have to schedule time like with your husband, things like that. Those are things you definitely don't. As you grow and you become more successful in whatever it is you're doing, that side tends to get smaller and smaller and smaller because focusing on other things. So when we're for example, when my kids were in sports, I would get their sports schedule and I would put those are my big rocks, my family, right? My kids are my big rocks. They're the most important thing in my life. So those are the things that I calendar and schedule first every single time. And then, from there, then it's appointments and work and things like that. But in health and fitness, all those things, right? But in the one thing, it talks a lot about, what is the one thing I can do such that by doing it will make everything else easier or unnecessary. And that's the biggest thing. So what is the one thing? When you're focusing on your 20%, there's 80% of the stuff that's not going to get done, right? It's just going to happen. Or it's not going to get done in the time frame that we're hoping that it can get done in. So we have this big, huge list, right? And every day we go by and it's like satisfying. It's so gratifying to just check off the boxes. I mean, I'm a list girl. I mean, I have stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of lists. That being said, it's also really important to know what is our 20%. So when I first heard that, I thought, well, my 20%, well, how would you even say that, right? Like I have kids, I have fitness, I have work, I have all these different things. How do you pick 20%? But you really get like two buckets, right? You get your personal life and then you get your work life. And it's really important to determine what is the most important thing in my business, in my industry. So we have jobs, we have, working on our job, we're working in our business, right? We're working on our family, we're working in our family. So there's different ways to kind of look at it, right? And so for the one thing, right? My 20%. So when I get started in here, so like for my finances, right? What is my 20% for my finances? Okay. There's a certain formula that I do right now, because when you move to Mexico, you have to pay cash for your house, all that stuff, right? So I've been like super focused on my finances, right? 50% of everything I make goes into savings, 28% goes to taxes, the rest stays in my business account. Like I have a formula that I came up with my, working out 30 minutes a day. I don't have time to do 2 hours a day. I simply don't. If I can take my dogs on a 2-mile walk, that's good enough. That's my 20%, right? Of my physical, there's a lot more I could do or should do. But if we concentrate on what we should be doing and not the 20%, then we're gonna lose our minds, right? And this is a cool little thing though that you have. So I would encourage all of you to go through here and figure out each different category. What is your 20% of this? Because you're never going to get 100% done. You're just not. And there's also, we talk a lot about how many wants a balanced life, right? There's no such thing as a balanced life. It doesn't exist, right? I mean, it's just a myth. And that was kind of a little bit what I wanted to talk about today. You know, we have this misconception that if we live a balanced life, that everything's going to be okay. Well, what we're going to have if we have a balanced life is a very lackluster life. If you think of a pendulum, how it swings, right? And we just hang in the middle, where's the growth in that? There is no growth in that, right? So we have to be willing to sacrifice some things on this side on occasion to accomplish great things on this side. And we have to learn how to counterbalance, right? So especially in our personal lives, it's hugely important to counterbalance in our personal lives, because we can't not talk to our kids for 2 days, right? While we're concentrating on something else. So we have to make sure while we're out running or taking care of our physical needs, right? Or vacationing or doing all those things. So we have to make sure we're counterbalancing more rapidly in our personal lives. With business, that's a whole different duck, right? So for me in my business, the one thing that I need to do every single day is lead generation, which all of you who are, leaders in what you do, right? You should be doing lead generation every day, quite frankly, picking up the phone, calling people, figuring out ways to get that going. And for me, it's 2 hours a day. Do I do it every day? No, but it is that one thing that if by doing that, everything else will become easier and necessary, because the business will come in and the rest of it will happen, right? And when you start getting all that business coming in, then you can leverage. You can hire a housekeeper. You can, I hired a full-time assistant. There's ways you can leverage when the business comes in. So it's just really, really important to make sure that you're counterbalancing. But when you counterbalance to a high level of success, there are things that you are going to feel like you've completely abandoned. Maybe it's the laundry, but you have to consider, how important is the laundry? I mean, really? I mean, do you not have a closet full of clothes you can wear and pick a Sunday and go do your laundry? Like, how important is it? Or the dishes in the sink, right? It's really easy to get distracted, especially, I'm assuming a lot of you, like me, I work from home, I have a home office. It's pretty easy to take my business and then quickly run over and do the dishes, right? And is that the one thing that we need to do in our business? So, when we calendar and we schedule, I hear you guys talking about, putting things into a calendar, and that's awesome. I would also encourage you to name them things. So like my lead gen is data bank. Like I'm working my data bank, right? Every time I go into my database, it's money. I'm making money. I'm helping families. I'm doing cool stuff, right? And so, change the way you're naming your time blocking. Maybe it's, I don't know, what are some of the things that you name your time blocking? If it's working out, well, maybe it's, life longevity, or I don't change the way you look at it, right? If it's not working, you're not following it with that name. Give it a name that hits right here, that affects your 20% of your life. Like, what is the most important thing to me? Start creating your time blocking around that. So now you're understanding, you're correlating, or lead generation. For me, sometimes I change it to House of Mexico. If I don't do that, I don't get to pay for my House of Mexico. So change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change, right? So start naming things a little bit differently. We talk about, let me see here, I've got some of this stuff highlighted, but it does talk, in here in this book, it talks about it. The magic happens in the extremes, right? It doesn't happen in the midst of the balance. So if we're over here trying to achieve this life where everything is just copacetic and perfect and all this stuff, it's not going to happen, right? And it also, the other thing too to consider, if you want to achieve extraordinary results, you have to choose what matters the most and give it all the time it demands. And this requires getting extremely out of balance in relation to all other work issues. So you have to just really decide in your business, and I don't know, I would have to assume, like with me, it's lead generation. I mean, I think that anytime you're in sales, which you guys are in sales, right? You're just selling something different than what I'm selling, but it's all about getting the people to come to you. It's about sharing what you know and getting people to listen, right? And in doing that, you're going to have to really, really, really stay focused and find those people, find those 20% of the 100% of the people in the world, because not everybody wants what you're selling, right? They don't want it. And are we wasting our time on the low-hanging fruit, the easy ones that maybe don't want it, but they're easier to talk to, or they're easier to reach out to, because we don't like the tough conversations. they're scary, they're difficult. So it's really important, you know, that we're making those calls and we're doing the things and we're doing the hard stuff, right? But every time you're gonna have, like I said, the 2 buckets. You're gonna have your personal bucket, you're gonna have your business bucket, and just make sure that you're understanding what your 20% in each of those buckets are. And most importantly, make sure that you're putting your big rocks in your calendar first. What are the most important things in your world? What is absolutely never negotiable? Those go in first. And maybe it's Friday night date night with your husband. And if you don't have one, you should, not a husband, I don't have a husband, but if you don't have a date night planned or something like that, make sure that you put that in your calendar. Make sure you're scheduling that time, because as you guys start focusing in on your business and you start finding your one thing that's going to bring the business in, that's going to make the rest of it simple, you're going to grow and you're going to get bigger. And then you're going to get excited, and you should, because that's amazing, right? And then you're going to focus on that and focus on that. It's just the nature of growth, you know? So just be careful with making sure that you put the most important things in first. But know that too, you know, in business, you know, we have a tendency to think big is bad, right? Or that this big, huge life is a bad thing, and we have to be humble about it. And we have to be, you know, all the almost contrite that we're successful, right? There's something about, we don't get to be rude, we don't get to be boastful, right? But we get to create this big life. And why do we do it? You know, I mean, assumingly we do it for the money, right? I mean, we want to make a living, we want to have a career. Maybe it's so we can work from home, or we can do all these things. But I think it's important to remember too, that money is good for the good that money can do. It's not about the money itself. It's not, can I go out and buy myself another fur coat? Well, maybe that's a cool thing, right? But money is good for the good that money can do. Like I'm like, when I go, all I'm looking forward to in Mexico is coaching people, helping people succeed in what they're doing. And then, you know, volunteering and just go ahead, living a life of service, right? We get so caught up sometimes in what we're doing and the business that we're in, that we don't have time to give back to our community. Now, granted, what you ladies do, it's pretty awesome. And you're giving health, you're giving fitness, you're giving, you know, quite frankly, better attitudes out to the world, right? You know, you got the serotonins going, and that's really, and when you look in the mirror and you feel good about who you are, you're just a nicer human being. So really, you're all spreading good cheer all the time with what you do. But it's also important to remember that, you know, the bigger you get, we do lose focus on what the point of it all is. And is it not just to be a service and being able to help more people? So, you know, when we're focused and we're balanced and we're good with who we are, and we clearly understand that this home bucket needs really important attention and really specific counterbalancing, and really pay attention that you're not letting the pendulum swing too far one way for too long. It's going to swing too far one way, but make sure we bring it back. And with work, you know, what is your one thing? What is the one thing, that 20%? If you do that, everything else is going to be easy or unnecessary. So really think about that. And on this sheet, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at it, but it has in here, you know, my finances, for my spiritual life. What is the one thing I can do for my spiritual life, right? For me, it's praying every day. It's getting on track. It's sitting down and talking to God for 30 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever it needs, right? For my physical health, you know, 30 minutes a day. That's what I have time for. Would I love to do more? Sure. And will that time come? Yeah, probably. It's not today. You know, my personal life, spending time with friends, you guys, make sure you're getting out and doing things with your people. Schedule it, put it in a calendar. You know, I book, you know, coffee dates and lunch dates out and dinner dates with my girlfriends out, like sometimes 6-8 weeks in advance. Because if I don't, it's not going to happen. And that's my one thing, right? For my personal life, I need my girls, I need my people, right? For my key relationships, I have to really focus and concentrate on communication. Ask the questions. How are you today? What's going on? And pay attention and listen, right? That's my 20% is communication. For my job is lead gen, right? My job is to make money. How do I make money? That's by lead genning, right? My business, what I do to form my business, right? Because that's different. And I'm sure you're aware of that, but having, you know, your job is not your business, right? Your business is the bigger picture. So what do I do in my business now? I'm building it and I'm trying to make it strong. So when I sell it, it has value for the buyer of my business, right? So I am paying attention making sure that I have all my finances or my taxes are done. Everything is how it should be. So when I transfer to her, it's seamless. She's able to step into that. So you just have to go through these categories in your life and figure out what is the one thing, and then really focus on that. And I know that a lot of things get left behind, and it doesn't mean the boxes don't need to get checked on the other areas, but I would challenge you to ask, do you need to be checking the box? Somebody else be checking those boxes is when we take on everything all the time. And I would challenge you to say, can somebody else be doing this? Can somebody else do the laundry? Can somebody else do the dishes while I'm trying to work? We have a tendency when we work from home, people don't seem to respect the boundaries and the time. And it's really important to build your bunker to make sure that you have, a sign on the door, don't bother me right now. I'm busy. And it's okay. And I was telling Louise earlier when I got on the phone that sometimes doing our 20% comes off as really rude. When I had my office at the, people would come in, I'm like, I can't talk to you right now. And they would be offended, right? This is my time. I'm sorry. I'm happy to help you. The answer is yes, of course I will help you, just not right now. So it's really important to make sure that you guys are honoring your time, your commitments, your 20%. Even if it pisses somebody else off, they'll be fine. They'll get over it. Everybody does. And if they don't, are they supposed to be in your circle? Just remember, the 5 people we hang out with is a direct reflection of who we are. So make sure you choose your 5 people very wisely and that they honor your 20% and they lift you up to achieve that. So that's kind of what I have on, balancing of life. And I don't know if you got anything out of that, but certainly this one thing is huge. It's really huge. If you can focus in on your 20% and figure out what to do with the rest of it, whether you leave it there or you leverage it out or delegate, whatever that is, it's really going to be important to the success of your business, but not only that, but your personal life as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Sherri.
You're welcome.
And so there was a quote that is what you're talking about too, that when I first started coaching, is don't let the things that matter the least get in the way of things that matter the most. And so that's that same principle. And then, when we did our 12-week year and we identified what our goals were and we did our tactics on how to get to our goals, if you circle the thing that's going to make the most difference and make sure that that is in your schedule for the week. And then like Coach Deb does, did I do one thing today that's going to get me closer to where I need to be? So using that same principle. And then using that 7 layers, the 7 areas of your life, 7 circles. Yeah. That's a good place to start with creating your vision board. Like what is your vision for those areas of your life?
Yeah.
And what's it going to take to get there? What's that one thing, right? What's the thing that's going to matter the most, have the most impact, is the greatest priority? And then we'll start there. Yeah. So does anybody have any questions right now for Sherri?
I covered everything.
You did. You are so awesome and so good.
I wanted to really thank you because I was taking notes real fast, but a couple of takeaways is I love the idea of naming your time blocking or your chore or whatever it is, and get a different little twist on the mindset, because it's like, oh, I have to work. Well, not work out, I get to work out. So if I just title it differently, it's like I'm the she woman at that hour or something,
Yeah, exactly.
It just helps with that motivation too. That's where I get stagnant, and I appreciate that idea. And what matters most, of course, I realized that this past week. And build my bunker. I got to do that too.
I love that. Good morning, Bridget.
Hi. Hi, Sherri. It's so good to see you.
Hi. You
Hi.
too.
I just wanted to say hi and thank you. And it's so good to see you doing so well and moving to Mexico. That's freaking awesome.
Thanks, I'm pretty excited. Not for
Yeah.
like 10 months, but I'm just counting the days. That's all.
Yes, those end, right? Yeah, awesome. So good to see.
And
You too. Good to see you.
Sherry's going to have a retreat at her house. I'll let you know when it is.
Good.
Hey, bring it.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Awesome.
And just you guys, anytime too, you guys are all welcome to call me if you have any, time scheduling questions or, Louise has my number. She's welcome to give it out to you if you have any, just, need some direction. I know Louise is a phenomenal coach, but sometimes it's always, you hear different words, sometimes a little more deeply. So I'm just available for anything that you guys might need.
Thank you, Sherri.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for getting on this morning's coffee chat. And I too, if anyone wants to go one-on-one and look at their time blocking and look at their goals and then the breakdown of that, definitely reach out to me or reach out to Coach Deb, and we will help you with that, Coach Aaron. All right. Thank you, ladies, for getting on the call. And Sherri, again, mwah, love you. Thank you very much.
Love you too. Thank you guys very much.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.